Welcome back. How Ironjawz beat Kharadron-Overlords. Art by Kyle the Cozy. All three of my videos right now are have his art on there, so another green skin player. Wow. But before we get too much into it, I'd like to thank all my patrons, Baron for the channel art, and MDG is the code you use for Baron of Dice to save 5% off your order. Yeah. Okay, so special thanks to AOS Will, Lion Man, Mies, and Age of Canuck. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. M-I-E-S. But these four were very helpful when I was making these videos and talking about KO and learning all the tricks and figuring out exactly what we're gonna do to beat this army as Ironjawz. So thanks again. Okay, so I've been sitting here like racking my brain about how Ironjawz beat Kharadron-Overlords, and the truth of it is that Ironjawz is a much simpler, more straightforward army than Gloomspite gets and Cruel Boys, right? Cruel Boys have so many different ways they can do things and tricks, and they're subtle and morky, but Ironjawz really are punchy, right? They're gonna just move up and hit you in the face. They don't really have the tricks that they have is more about controlling space with mighty destroyers and other sort of like movement tricks, right? So the way that Ironjawz beat KO is very, very different than the way that these other armies beat KO. And to be totally straight up, the way that Ironjawz beat KO is just to charge them with all of your fast stuff. The more pigs that you have in your list, the better off you're going to be. The more infantry that you have in your list, the worse off you're going to be. If you're Ironjawz really heavy infantry list, KO is just going to dance around you, take favorable engagements, and just shoot you. And they're going to slowly whittle you down, and it's not going to go super well. But if you can go to them and pin them and bring the fight to them, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So, and it's like if you charge with like 4 or 5 pigs, big or small, stuff's gonna get in, you're gonna pin them, and then their smaller units are gonna crumple like paper, like their balloon boys and stuff. Like they just don't have a ton of wounds. I mean, like if we look at some of the units that people are considering like playing that are actually, you know, like good here, let me just find one here. They tend not to have like a ton of like models and health, right, for their points. Like they have decent saves, right, but they just don't seem to have a lot of like staying power. So if you're able to kind of get in and hit them, then you'll be fine. So our overall strategy, right? They're better in melee now than they used to be. KO, that is. The bullets are pretty tanky, and they make things around them tanky with -1 to hit. That's going to be pretty annoying. So all out attacks, Rekkas, right? Stuff like that. Gordrakk, right? I'm probably not recommending playing Gordrakk. They have many movement shenanigans, so if you are going to play some casters, some little guys, you have to kind of watch your back lines and your flanks, right? They're going to try to teleport in behind you and shoot your little boys off the table. Again, the more pigs, the better. You want to charge them, but it can be pretty tough. They have a flak gun that they can take a die away after you've made your charge roll. They can give -1 to charge. But again, if you have like 4 or 5 pigs all going in, stuff's going to get in. And then you also have to watch for the frigate with, it has like an alpha strike thing where it like charges in. I think it can have something like a 12-inch move. It can run in charge, so it can go 18 inches and then re-roll a charge. So it's like very, very aggressive, and then it pops 2 units out and they all strike first. So that's like a combo that you have to be very, very careful of. So just put some Gore-Gruntas up in the front and let them take the hit, right? This is also where that Army of Renown, the Krazog's Stampede, that deployment phase move with the Gore-Gruntas, just moving them up off the line 10 inches. It's like, okay, frigate, come on in. You can kill this unit of pigs if you want, but the clapback's going to be pretty significant. So again, the overall strategy for Ironjawz is just play lots of pigs and get stuck in. Don't think too much about it. Just like charge, get them wherever they are. Don't let them run away. So we're going to go through. So that's like the overall big picture. But now let's go through some of the smaller details. Love this art, by the way. The style is just like super different. I'm a big fan. Looks like a lot of work went into this. Like very dark, you know, like I don't know. It's great. So for battle traits, there's a few different battle traits that KO have that are worth looking at and considering. Essentially, the fly high and descend from the clouds is a deep strike, very similar to Stormcast. They put units inside of one of these sky vessels, then they can deep strike it in, pop their guys out, shoot. Then they also have this transport Skyfares where they pick a unit wholly within 6. The boat or the sky vessel moves, and then they dump these units out, and they can do things like shoot. They can't charge, I don't believe, when they pop out, because I don't think they can charge. Let me double check. Yeah, that's right. They can't charge when they pop out of the boat, so it's not like that scary. Like they're not really gonna come in super crazy, except for one of them, right? The frigate, I think. I always forget what they're called. So you just have to be careful with your backline. If you're going to be playing things that are squishy and you don't want to have die, you can sort of string a unit of Gore Gruntas in the back to sort of help zone out. 3 Gore Gruntas put end to end, take up a lot of space. But again, a better solution is just don't play things that you care about if they die, right? It's like just play lots of pigs. Sky Vessel cover gives -1 to hit for infantry where they're wholly within 6 inches of ironclads or frigates. So just like, yeah, like I said, use that all-out attack. Rekkas are good. All-out attacks are our best friend. Rekkas have a hard time keeping up, right, with some of the pigs. So, but they are just generally good. So if they're in your list, you can use them to good effect here. There's some battle formations that are worth looking at, but there's only one that's really like a play around me that you need to be careful with, because again, this guide is not like here's all the good things with KO. This guide are here are the things that are going to get you. Here are the things you have to keep in mind when you're playing against them so that you can outmaneuver them. Every army has like the infantry hero that buffs the infantry squad that makes them do extra damage, right? But there's nothing that you can do about that. There's no play around me mechanic. It's just like obviously killing foot heroes is a good thing if they're buffing the units, right? And there's no decisions. It's obviously better that you charge their cavalry rather than their cavalry charge you, right? Everybody knows these things. You don't need to know specifically what they do. You just need to know the things that you have to play around that are going to impact the decisions that you're going to make, right? So rapid redeployment. The gun haulers can transport 2 units of 6 instead of 1 unit of 5. So that's just one little thing that they have that they can do. As far as enhancements, there's a heroic trait. Shrewd Opportunist, tune non-hero infantry, get a deployment move phase. So this can be pretty good. I mean, they can start moving up the board and coming at you pretty quick, right? Because a lot of the units in this book are very fast. So it's not a movement. It's not a deployment phase move of like 5 inches or 4 inches. It's like 12 inches. So they're going to be able to like run up and grab objectives and stuff and get around and like start getting around you, right? Like if something has a 12-inch move and then a deployment phase moves and then they move, it's like 24 inches that they're moving before they're charging. It's a lot. For artifacts of power, they have a once per battle auto unbind. So just be a little bit careful of that. If you're trying to get your Gork Rora out early, then do it while your opponent is far back so they can't just auto unbind you. They have a grenade that shuts off wards. So just watch out if you're playing Kragnos. If Kragnos loses a ward, it can be kind of frustrating because he can kind of melt without a 5-up ward. But everything else in Ironjawz, like even if you're playing like weird fist, there's nothing really that is all that concerning. There's a flat gun, the Blazebeard and Sons Bamboozling flat gun. This is the one that you're going to see taken most often. As a reaction to a charge roll, they get to roll a d6, and if it's equal to or greater than one of the dice, they get to remove the die. It means that this. So normally, if the distance that you need is only 3 to do a normal charge, you have a 97.2% success rate. But with this Bamboozling flat gun, it goes down to a 70%. They also have a way of giving -1 to charges, so it drops it down even further to about a 61%. That's on a 3-inch charge. That means that more often than 1 in 3 times, you're going to fail a 3-inch charge with this ability. So again, it's like they can only do it to one thing. So if 3 units are charging in at this here with this artifact of power, right? It's a once per turn reaction. So if you're going in with lots of stuff, you're going to get in with something, right? but it's quite like a 7-inch charge goes from like a 58% down to a 22%. So, yep, it's a very good artifact. More enhancements. They had these other enhancements. They're sort of like monstrous traits called Great Endrin Works. They give them to their sky vessels, so the 3 big boats. One is a 5 aboard against shooting. We don't care. They also get to do these in deployment too, right? Or they get to pick one in their list writing, and then they get to pick one during deployment too. One is a +2 move. I think that's the one that you'll see most often, most likely on a frigate. Then they also have ignore -1 to hit for shooting. This is good for guarded hero, right? Because guarded hero gives a -1 to enemy shooting when they're shooting at your heroes and stuff, but they just get to ignore that. So again, play lots of pigs, don't play lots of infantry heroes. Good. Kragog Stampede. They have some good Scourge of Gyran enhancements. There's an artifact of power that it just gives a hero a 5 up ward and +1 attack. It's not really any kind of play around stuff here, right? You're just gonna punch them to death, as Ironjawz do. Emberstone Flare. More teleport shenanigans. Once per battle, this is on like a foot hero, right? Pick a unit with fly, like one of the sky vessels or some of the balloon boys, and teleport it within 9 inches of the hero and outside of 9 inches of all enemy units. So it just like it's like a flare that the foot hero puts off that the sky vessel then sees the flare and teleports there. They also have in Scourge of Gyran sky vessel upgrades. These are additional enhancements that they get to put on sky vessels. So they have one that is a 4 up spell ignore. I don't think we're really casting that many spells on sky vessels. Really none at all. So this isn't a big deal for us. Blazebeard and Sun's ejector pod. More teleport shenanigans. Once per battle in any combat phase, you teleport a hero from within 6 inches to within 18 inches and outside of 9. So it's just a way that they can like yeet a hero to the back line. But most likely what you're going to see from this is it's like a charge impact mortals, right? It's like they roll the number of dice equal to the charge roll, and every 4 up is a mortal. So nothing you can do there to play around. They're just gonna again charge them before they charge you. There is an army of renown called the Magnets crew. It is very, very fast, like way faster than you think. They do have hit and run tactics, but I think that regular KO is better, so you probably won't see this. Oops. If we wanted to look at sky vessels in more detail, this is something that's going to be kind of frustrating for us to deal with as Ironjawz. The boats have 2 up saves, so we don't deal a ton of mortal wounds. Zogrock, I think, is the only thing that we really have that can deal mortal wounds. So if you do get to tailor make your list against KO, like buffing up a reinforced unit of Gruntas with crit mortals and then sending it into a sky vessel is going to be a good way of chewing through the number of wounds. But those 2 up saves are pretty scary, right? Ironjawz don't have a ton of rend, especially with some of our bigger things. But yeah, whatever has the most rend. I mean, I can't remember what the rend is like. I'm just gonna check real quick. But like the Maw Gruntas, right? Yeah, like 2 rend on the tusks, right? So the tusks are gonna be our big like damage weapons, right? So the gougers are gonna be better at taking on the boats, right? Just because they have the tusks dealing like high amounts of damage on like 2 rend or more. Also for enhancements here, you could also consider taking, I always forget what they're called, but the enhancement that gives, I think it's one of the monstrous traits, and it gives your companion weapons +1 rend. So yeah, Madden, is that right? No, Biggin, yeah. So if you wanted to add more rend to companion weapons with Biggin, I think that would be pretty good. That being said, Fasten is pretty good, like with a Hacken crew, right? But adding more rend to take down sky vessels would be pretty decent on a, I don't know, like a Hacken crew, maybe straight up to a Tusk boss, something like that. They have heroes and faction train that are going to buff their sky vessels, like give them small buffs like teleports and run-in charges, all kinds of things, and other kinds of movement shenanigans, so you need to be careful. If we're looking at specifically what some of these guys are, the Ironclad is the biggest and the best at shooting. I think it has something like 18 wounds. Let me just do a quick double check here. But it has a 10-inch move. It can move up to 12. Same with the frigate. And the Ironclad's just the best at shooting. It's not like KO is not as good at shooting as they were in the previous book. They are way better at melee now. But if we wanted to actually just look at the frigate's profile, where is it? I can't find it. There it is. Not the frigate, sorry, the Ironclad. So it's like 18-inch range, 6 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. Like pretty decent attacks. And then another profile, 24-inch range, 6 attacks, 4s and 2s, 2 rend, and 3 damage. Like they can hit pretty hard from shooting. So again, it's like, don't let them just sit there and shoot you, right? Get them. But I'd say the scariest sky vessel is the frigate. What it does is it charges in and gives first strike to what it was carrying. That's not exactly how it's worded, but that's how you're going to see it played on the table. It like charges in and dumps its guys into combat with you, and the things it dumps get first strike. Every frigate can do this. It's not limited to once per turn army. And Brock, a foot hero, can give up to 3 sky vessels run and charge. So again, it's like they have quite a big threat range. I said it was they can move up to 18 inches in 1 turn and then have a reroll for a charge. And then the first strike, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot. The gun hauler is the sky vessel that can pick up and transport units out of combat. So again, it's like you just got to kill it, right? Just kill the gun hauler so it can't be picking up units and bringing them out of combat, and so they can drop them back down and shoot you again, right? Just like kill it. The gun hauler is the smallest of them, right? There is the Scourge-Guy Ran gun hauler. What it does is it's faster and shootier, and it doesn't transport units. So again, pin it. You can kind of see though, hey, that if you're playing a ton of infantry, you're just never going to tie them down, right? Like these boats are just going to fly around, and they can just retreat if they start to get injured and fall back and heal up and just keep peppering you and shooting you as you slowly march across the board. Like they just never have to fight you. And because they're so fast, they can all commit to one side of the table and like gang up to take objectives, right? Like if 5 of their units are fighting into even a reinforced unit of Ardboys or Brutes, you're going to lose that fight, especially if they all shoot you and then get in, right? It's just not going to go well. Looking at other specific like heroes and units, we have Brock Grungson. Once per battle in the KO player's movement phase, up to 3 sky vessels that are wholly within 24. So they can be, like wholly within 24, pretty generous range. They can run, shoot, and charge. This hero is very fast with 12 inches, and he's reliably durable with a 3-up safe. He's a good buff piece for other infantry. He's fighty, he has good shooting, and he has pretty good melee, and he's overall scary. He's good at kind of everything. Supporting the boat, supporting the infantry, fighting himself. He's fast, survivable, so if he's on the board after your sky vessels, he's a good target for death. The Aether Chemist gives -1 to charge within 9 inches. When we talked about the flat gun, I sort of mentioned they have a way of giving -1 to charge. Here it is. It's just within 9. So charge lots of things. Charge lots of things, and some things will get in. Ironjawz have good mechanics for like +1 to charge and reroll charge and stuff like this, right? So it's a little bit better than other armies, but again, it's like the more things you're sending in, the better. Von Grimm Harpoon Crew. If this unit is in combat, it can move 2d6, but must end that move in combat. So these guys fly, right? So they're good at like jumping over front lines. They also have like anti-monster +1 rend. But if you connect with these guys and you get to fight before they do, they'll pretty much crumple. But these guys will be looking to get either your foot heroes with their maneuverability, or they will be, right? Because they could like jump on Ardboys and then move 2d6 and end in combat with your shaman in the back, right? Or your war chanter, or your mega boss on foot, right? So you just have to be careful and kind of zone these guys out and try to get to them before they get to you. Etheric Navigator. He picks a sky vessel or auto engine that's within 3 inches of him that isn't in combat and teleports it, right? Again, more movement shenanigans. If he teleports a sky vessel, then he can go with the sky vessel and do it again. Grunstock Thunderers. This is a shooting attack that turns off wards. Again, we don't have a lot of wards, so we're not that worried about it. They add the damage that they dealt to a unit to a d6, and if it's greater than the control characteristic, they remove the wards. So they don't, the attack damage that they deal doesn't remove wards, right? But everything else that's going to shoot at that target after that, they remove. They don't have to. Ward saves can't be made against attacks that they make. So these things are just scary for Kragnos. It also makes a unit's control 1. So Kragnos has a nice big 15 control. Not if these guys shoot into them. So he's got to be careful, right? He's got to keep Kragnos out of range. Kragnos doesn't really want to commit until later in the game anyway, right? So Sky Wardens, also known as some Balloon Boys, at the end of any turn, they can, on a 2-up, they do D3 Mortals to whatever unit they're in combat with, and they can fly retreat for free. They have a 12-inch move, so these guys are going to be zipping all over the place. Again, if you have foot heroes and casters hiding in the back, KO's going to get them. And there's not really all that much that you can do, so don't play them. So Zontari Endrin Dock, this is their piece of faction train. It heals Sky Vessels and makes these little auto Endrins. You can think of them like manifestations. The normal rules that apply for manifestations apply to them almost completely, except for you can't banish them. There's one that will get rid of manifestations. There's one that will take away control, particularly if they have a lot of health. So things like monsters and Kragnos will lose -10 control, pretty much guaranteed. And then there's a 33% chance against 2 health units that they'll -10 from the control of that unit. Not a big deal for infantry, but like against monsters and stuff, it'll be really annoying. A unit of Gore-Gruntas has 6 control and 5 health. So all they need to do is roll a 5 or under, and then like a unit of Gore-Gruntas just has no control for that turn, right? So it is kind of annoying. And then there's just like a 2-up D3 Mortal one to everything within 3. It just kind of blows up and kills everything. So the Stun Cloud one, I think, is going to be the most difficult for Ironjawz, right? Just because it can we have a high health and not like a ton of control. So it'll be able to like it'll come into play. So if there's one that you want to like attack and get rid of before it gets to do its ability, that would be a good one to get rid of. Probably just the control one, I think, is the only one that I'm really that concerned with. When does this... I think their abilities happen, in any combat phase. So they're going to get to do it before you, before you get to actually fight it. So there's not much you can do to stop it, but oh well. Just fight them. Fight them in their faces. Come on now. Oh, was that my last slide? Oh, I guess because I moved my overall strategy to the front here. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not sure what else to say, really. I mean, if you're playing a ton of infantry, you're going to have a really bad time. It's a really bad matchup. But if you're playing a bunch of pigs, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think that it might even be in your favor. Like, just as soon as you get on top of KO, they kind of just die. So I think that you just don't worry too much about the boats, because if you can just kill everything else that they have, right, the boats aren't going to be able to like do enough damage. Like they're like utility support pieces for the most part. They deliver the things that are going to kill you. So if you can just charge them before they charge you, especially with the frigate, you got to be super careful with the frigate. But if you can just kill all their stuff and get on top of them and just delete all their units, which are not that tanky, then it's just a mop up game. Then you just got to like keep pushing in and grabbing and killing off the sky vessels at the end of the game. The only other real crazy trick that they have, like I'm telling you, this frigate, right? This like 18 inches with a CP, reroll charge, first strike frigate play is really scary. Another way that this thing is scary is they can do this with the counter charge as well. Re-rolling a counter charge and then first striking on your turn, like 2 units first striking before you get a chance to fight, can be very difficult to survive, right? They're gonna punch way harder than you're used to. So just keep that in mind too, right? That counter strike is going to be kind of scary. But an easy way that you can deal with that with the frigate is just by playing the pig army of renown. You just deployment phase move. You just move some pigs up, and you're like, go ahead. If you want to deal 15 damage to a 3-up save unit, right? Like, okay, that's fine. Then I'm gonna kill everything you have. I'm gonna jump on top of you with a bunch of different units, and I'm gonna gobble your face up. Man, I want to play the Ironjawz. I've been playing Cruel Boy so much lately because I'm practicing for a GT, but I can't wait to get back into some Ironjawz and play like the big pig army renown. It's gonna be a good time. Yeah, but that's kind of it, right? Like, just it seems like this season, the more and more evidence is just play lots of pigs. I should have an interview coming up hopefully soon with Will, who did very well at a GT recently with the Big Pig Army of Renown. So yeah, sorry, infantry. I don't know what happened. Let me know in the comments below why you think last season infantry were doing so great and this season infantry are doing so poorly. Like, specifically. Please let me know. But if you don't do that, then at least you should like, subscribe.
Wow.